Hello students, in this video we are going to discuss chapter number 12, reproduction in plants. As we know, in the previous class, that is in class 6, we have already learned about the reproduction, which means the production of new individuals from their parents. In this chapter, we are going to study the different modes of reproduction in plants. Let's see how the plants reproduce. The first topic is the modes of reproduction. We know there are different parts of a flowering plant, and there are different functions of each. Most plants, as we know, they have different roots, stems, and leaves. These roots, stems, and leaves are known as the vegetative parts of the plant. After some time, the plants will bear flower, and then we will see the fruit, and inside the fruit we will see the seeds again. When we eat the fruits and usually discard the seeds, that seeds germinate and form new plants. So flowers perform the function of reproduction in plants. Flowers are the reproductive parts. We know that there are several ways by which plants produce their offspring. We can categorize into two types. The first one is asexual reproduction, and the second one is sexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, plants can give rise to new plants without seeds, whereas in asexual reproduction, new plants are obtained from seeds. Let's study further about asexual reproduction. As we discussed just now, in asexual reproduction, new plants are obtained without the production of seeds. That is, there will be no seeds. That is, seeds will not required in order to produce the new kind of the plant in asexual reproduction. But let's see the vegetative propagation. The vegetative propagation is also a type of asexual reproduction in which new plants are produced from the roots, stems, leaves, and buds. Since reproduction is through the vegetative parts of the plant, it is known as the vegetative propagation. So these are the vegetative parts. The vegetative parts are roots, stems, leaves, and buds. With this, the new plant can arise. Next, let's see an activity. In this activity, we will cut a branch of a rose or champa with knot. The cutting of a branch, after cutting it, the pieces of that branch is known as the cutting. We will bury the cutting in the soil. We will water the cutting every day and will observe its growth. We will observe and record the number of days taken for roots to come out and new leaves to arise like this. Like this, we can do the same activity with the help of another plant, say money plant, in a jar of water, and we can record our observation. Let's see this picture. This is the knot, and this part is the bud in the axial, and this is the stem cutting of rose. With this, a new rose can arise. These buds are called vegetative buds, since a bud consists of a short stem around which immature overlapping leaves are present. Vegetative buds can also give rise to new plants. And let's see another activity 12.2. In this activity, we will tag a fresh potato like this. These scars are also called eyes. First of all, we will cut the potato into small portions, each with an eye, and bury them in the soil. And then we will water the pieces regularly for a few days, and we will observe the progress. Likewise, we can also do the same activity with ginger or turmeric. Let's see, this is the leaf of bryophyllum with buds in the margin. This bryophyllum sprout leaf plant has buds in the margin of leaves. If a leaf of this plant falls on a moist soil, its bud can give rise to a new plant. Roots of some plants can also give rise to new plants. For example, sweet potato and dahlia. Plants such as cacti produce new plants when their parts get detached from the main plant body. Each detached part can grow into a new plant. Plants produced by vegetative propagation will take less time to grow and bear flowers and fruits earlier than those produced from seeds. The new plants are exact copies of the parent plant, as they are produced from a single parent. So here the parent will be single, that is, only one parent is required to produce their reproduction. And in bisexual, that is the sexual reproduction, both parents will require to reproduce their own kind. Let's see the topic budding. As we already have learned about the tiny organisms, which is known as the yeast. The yeast can be seen with the help of a microscope. These yeast can grow and multiply their numbers in a very few hours if sufficient nutrients are made available to them. Let's see this figure. This is the reproduction of yeast in budding. This is the yeast cell. The yeast will have a developing bud like this, and after that we will see a new bud, and then we will see a chain of buds within a few hours if there is sufficient nutrients available to them. The small bulb-like projection coming out from the yeast cell is known as the bud. Let's see the next topic, that is the fragmentation. The fragmentation in Spirogyra and alga. Here we will see a slimy green patches in ponds or in other stagnant water bodies like this. These are the algae. When there is water and nutrients, algae will grow and multiply rapidly by fragmentation. An algae breaks up into 2 or more fragments. The fragments or pieces grow into new individuals. This will be the new individual and this will be the another new individual. Like this process continues and they cover a large area in a very short period of time. So we will see a large cover of algae in a particular water region like pond within a short period of time. And next, let's see the spore formation. In the previous chapter also we have learned the fungi on a bread piece grows from spores which are present in the air. We can repeat the activity 1.2 which were studied in chapter 1. Here we can observe in the cotton-like maze on the bread, when spores are released, they keep floating in the air. These spores are very light and they can cover a very long distances with the help of wind. These spores are asexual reproductive bodies. These spores are covered by a hard protective coat to withstand unfavorable conditions, for example high temperature and low humidity. Hence they can survive for a very long time. And after that the spores germinate and develop into new individuals if there is a favorable condition. Plants such as moss and ferns also reproduce by means of spores. Let's see the next topic, sexual reproduction. In the sexual reproduction, both parents are required. Let's see the reproductive parts of the plant. This is the stamen. In the stamen we see the upper portion is the anther. This is the filament, and in this picture we will see different parts. This is the pistil, and this area is called the ovary, and under the ovary we will see ovules, and this part is the style, and the uppermost part is the stigma. Here we can remember that flowers which contain either only pistil or only stamens are called unisexual flowers. This is the stamen and this is the pistil, where if only stamen or only pistil are present, then it is a unisexual flower, and if the flowers contain both the stamen and the pistil, then we will call that type of flowers as bisexual flower. For example, corn, papaya, and cucumber produce unisexual flowers, whereas mustard, rose, and petunia have bisexual flowers. The anther here we see contains pollen grains which produce male gametes, and the pistil which contains stigma, style, and ovary. Here the ovary contains one or more ovules. The female gametes or the egg is formed in the ovule. In sexual reproduction, a male and a female gamete fuse to form zygote. The transfer of the pollen from the anther to the stigma of a flower is called pollination. If the pollen lands on the stigma of the same flower or another flower of the same plant, it is called self-pollination. When the pollen of a flower lands on the stigma of a flower of a different plant of the same kind, it is called cross-pollination. Let's see this picture. This is the zygote formation, that is the fertilization takes place. In the fertilization, the cell which results after fusion of the gametes is called a zygote. The process of fusion of male and female gametes to form a zygote is called fertilization. The zygote develops into an embryo. Fruits and seed formation. As we know as discussed in the previous topic, after fertilization, the ovary grows into a fruit and other parts of the flower follow. Then that fruit will be ripened ovary. The seeds develop from the ovules. The seed contains an embryo enclosed in a protective seed coat. Some fruits are fleshy and juicy, such as mango and orange. Some fruits are hard like almonds and walnuts. Let's see the figure 12.12a and b. Here is the picture. This is the section of the apple and this is the almond. The next topic is the seed dispersal. Plants are growing in different places because of the seed dispersal. Seeds are dispersed to different places by different agents. Say for example, some seeds or fruits sticking to our clothes and will transfer that seed to other places and will grow a new plant farther away from the parent plant. Seeds and fruits of plants are carried away by wind, water, and animals. Wind seeds such as those of drumstick and maple, say for example here figure 12.13a and 12.13b. Light seeds of grass or hairy seeds of oak, madder, and hairy fruit of sunflower, figure 12.14a A and B get blown off with the wind to faraway places very easily. And some seeds are dispersed by water. The fruits or seeds usually develop floating ability in the form of spongy or fibrous outer coat, for example in coconut. And some seeds are dispersed by animals, for example spiny seeds with hooks which get attached to the bodies of animals and human beings that are carried to distant places. We can see an example as gentium. Let's see the picture of gentium, which is in figure 12.15a. This is a picture of gentium which can be transferred from the parent plant to another place, which will stick on the hair of the animals. Let's see a quick revision that we have discussed in this chapter. All organisms multiply or reproduce their own kind. In plants, there are two modes of reproduction, that is the asexual and sexual reproduction. There are several methods of asexual reproduction such as fragmentation, budding, spore formation, and vegetative propagation. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of male and female gametes. In vegetative propagation, new plants are produced from different vegetative parts such as leaves, stems, and roots. Flower is the reproductive part of a plant. A flower may be unisexual with either the male or female reproductive parts. Let's see, please wait here. A flower may be unisexual with either the male or the female reproductive parts. A bisexual flower has both the male and female reproductive parts. The male gametes are found inside the pollen grains and female gametes are found in the ovule. Pollination is the process of transfer of pollen grains from the anther of one flower to the stigma of the stem or another flower. Pollination is of two types: self-pollination and cross-pollination. In self-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. In cross-pollination, pollen grains are transferred from the anther of one flower to the stigma of another flower of the same kind. Pollination takes place in plants with the help of wind, water, and insects. The fusion of male and female gametes is called fertilization. Fertilized eggs is called zygote. Zygote develops into an embryo. Fruit is the mature ovary, whereas ovule develops into a seed which contains the developing embryo. Seed dispersal is aided by wind, water, and animals. Seed dispersal helps the plant to prevent overcrowding, avoid competition for sunlight, water, and minerals, and invade new habitats. Here it comes, the end of the chapter. Thank you all.